the shadow of rising darkness, a desperate act of hope took place. This is the story of the Kindertransport, a clandestine operation that smuggled thousands of Jewish children, primarily from Nazi Germany and other parts of Nazi-occupied Europe, to safety in Britain in the years between 1938 and 1939. The efforts taken by the Kindertransport and Nicholas Winton shows the moral responsibility to protect the rights of children as refugees that were facing Nazi persecution in one of history's darkest times, a testament to human compassion.
As the Nazi regime tightened its grip and anti-Jewish policies intensified, Jewish families faced increased persecution and the threat of violence. The Jewish community had their rights taken away by Nazism, as many parents faced the agonizing decision of how to keep their children safe. Mothers and fathers all across Czechoslovakia, Germany, and Austria had to send their children away, not knowing if they will ever see them again.
Realizes she has to get her kids out of Poland. So, which is now the feature of your project. November 1938, the British government, which is known as Parliament, passed a resolution to accept 10,000 children from the mainland of Europe. Remember the geography of England, it sits by itself, but it's all part of Europe. So 10,000, they would accept 10,000 children from the mainland of Europe, from the ages of about 4 to about 17. No parents, only children.
Recognizing the growing danger, British organizations and individuals, often motivated by humanitarian concerns, worked tirelessly to secure visas and arrange transportation for unaccompanied Jewish children. Driven by Nicholas Winton's moral responsibility to help the struggling youth, he faked visas for many children so they would be able to arrive in Britain, as he wanted to save as many lives as possible.
But before this, we had lives. Before this.
In the face of rising anti-Semitism and looming shadows of war, desperate measures were used to save Jewish children from Nazi Germany. Letters poured into the British government pleading for visas to allow unaccompanied minors to flee to safety in the United Kingdom. Recognizing the growing endangerment, leaders like Nicholas Winton and several British organizations felt as it was their right to secure visas to help Jewish children escape Nazism and adversity.
Nicholas Winton, one of the leaders in the Kindertransport, played a crucial role in the relocation of children, as he was a humanitarian who was willing to risk his life for the hope of saving others. Winton saved 669 Jewish children from the horrors of the Nazis and the concentration camps from Czechoslovakia. In an act of extraordinary courage and compassion, he organized a network of foster families in Britain. In total, Winton arranged for 8 trains to escort children from Czechoslovakia to Britain. However, the final departure that was scheduled for September of 1939 was attacked by the Nazis and the train was unable to leave.
One small suitcase, they said. No valuables. 10 marks or less. Not a pfennig more.
A hat, they said. Our cap, a coat in case we freeze.
And then came the moment for the stations.
Many trains left at midnight.
Our lives were made of midnights now. No breaths could be taken. No stars out. No moon. Just frozen hearts.
And icy hands.
The goodbyes were here, and no one knew how to say them. So they said,
"Be brave and be cheerful. England is not a..."
In a foreign country, not knowing the language, having to learn English, and not knowing when she'd see her parents or her sister ever again.
Yeah.
So,
fortunately, she was very smart, and she was very quick to catch on to English language. I think her teachers there even made a positive example of her to some of the other students who didn't do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first full reaction to your mom telling you the story and of her journey, and how old were you?
That's a really good question. I think, as is common, growing up, I always knew bits and pieces. She never sat me down and said, I'm going to tell you my story from beginning to end.
What were some important lessons that you learned from your parents' resilience, hope, or the importance of human connection? What are just some the big lesson that you took from the story?
Hatred is just something that is inexcusable. In terms of the resilience, I think I always carry that from my mother and my grandmother and my aunt. My grandmother used to say, remember the past, live the present, and look to the future. So it's not that they forgot the past at all, but they always looked forward and lived their lives to the fullest.
Upon arrival in Britain, the children were placed in foster homes, hostels, schools, and other care facilities. Many were welcomed by loving families, but others faced challenges adjusting to a new culture and language. When the children arrived in Britain, they were getting assigned to their foster homes. Some siblings or close friends couldn't face being separated from each other. Children would cry and throw tantrums to have the same foster family. The children were open to a completely different way of life and encountered many life stories they could carry through with them.
Joseph and I was 7, and my brother was by that time 11. Really old man, really knew it. Anyway, so we get on the ship to Warsaw, and we ended up in England. And we ended up in England around August 28th. 3 days before war broke out. And they take us off the ship and take us to a hall where the people who said they would accept us into their homes were waiting for us. And these families were all Jewish families. And so when we got there, we were told that this family is taking my brother and me, and Joseph was going somewhere else. Well, Joseph and I didn't like the idea of separation, so Joseph cried and I cried. And that family that was taking my brother and me said they would take Joseph as well, and so Joseph ended up. So we were a trio.
Paddington Bear author Michael Bond lived in England and was a part of the military. During World War II, he stationed at London's Reading train station. He remembered seeing children come off trains by themselves wearing tags that had their names on it, and addresses with small luggages, representing how the parents relied on the foster families to look after their children, just like the bear, as the rights of Jews were taken away by Nazis. As a result of the English government responsibility and their willingness to take in Jewish refugee children, thousands of lives were saved and 4 generations were able to continue. Kindertransport truly represents a journey of hope, as the outcome of the rescue was undefined, and hope got the children and parents through the times that they were facing dehumanization, as well as the horrors of the Holocaust. Thus, the efforts taken by the transport shows how the moral responsibility helps protect the rights of children as refugees that were facing Nazi persecution
in a
time
little over a
of
year
adversity.
before World War II began, nearly 10,000 Jewish children were brought to safety on trains from Europe to Liverpool Street, London, in what came to be called the Kindertransport movement.